Tell you what, it is a beautiful night out here in Northwest Ohio. And we're gonna be working in the shop. Well, looks like we've got some work done, eh? Almost looks like there was something parked right here. Wonder what that could have been. Yeah. Tried hooking the 8850 up to the air cart, and it worked. That's good, right? At least the dimensions worked. With the exception of the quick hitch. It is actually over at John Deere right now, mainly because I'm out of days, and I gotta get the hydraulics done on this. I've got to get the meter box on this. There's just a lot to do on this yet, and taking a quick hitch off honestly was going to be easy until it wasn't. That thing had been on there unused for the past 20 years on the 8850, and those pins were seized in there. So the boys over at John Deere are gonna tear that apart for us. They're gonna use lance rods to do that, and that's a setup I do not have. So, well, we'll let them have fun. And while it's over there, tell them go ahead and change all the oil. Go through like the central hinge, make sure all that stuff is in good shape. But anyway, as you can see, all of the liquid plumbing has been put on rather, as well as all of the air on the air cart, the air down pressure that is off of our air compressor. Now it's time to turn our attention to hydraulics. All right, so first things first, like I showed you, this is those O-ring, not the standard SAE, but they are, I think it's ORFS or something of that nature. If anybody knows the official term, go ahead and put that out there in the comments. Pretty sure it's ORFS. Basically what it is the O-ring is on the face, and that's what does the sealing. So what I like to do is on the actual fitting, in this case on a hose, just lube up the steel face plate. Use hydraulic oil. I'm just using gear oil. Make sure that your O-ring is nice and lubed as well. That one is. And go ahead, just put it on like you would a JIC fitting. Well, we got our big stockpile planter parts over here that continues to go down, but man, it drains you when you look at it. Well, here's a big box of $1,000. Dang near it anyway. Hydraulic hose. I've already begun to sort out some of it. I get all mine, at least for these big projects, I source all mine from Discount Hydraulic Hose. It's honestly pretty cheap, and the hose itself is honestly of pretty good quality. That's obviously air seeder hose, but this is their brand of hydraulic hose, and honestly I've had pretty good luck with it. It's reasonably priced, and when you're getting it in bulk like this, yeah, you have to go through and draw it up first, but it honestly forces you to try to think through the potential issues. So as you saw, see, this is what happens when you don't have shop lights. As you saw, we were working on the front of this, and we've run some hoses already. This is the pressure side, so these are all the different valves. This valve, for instance, turns on the CCS fan. These up here run the vac fans. This one runs the main blower fan for the strip till rig. And this one, when that's on, runs the air compressor. So now it's just a matter of coming off of those two pressure lines, running to the back. And then also we're gonna have what I'm calling a trunk line that plugs into the 8850 that will run all of these motors that we have here. So that's the next component. All right, so all of those hoses over there in that box, okay, so all of those hoses that you just saw over in that box are labeled. And that's a good thing, because otherwise it would just be a nightmare trying to figure out where they go on here. So before I ordered all of those, I went and drew up these highly detailed plans, right? So, yeah, no, there's nothing professional about these. Anyway, so the first part that we're going to look at, we're going to start at the rear of this air cart to run this so-called trunk line. And what that trunk line is going to do, I'll bring you around here and show you, is we'll get our power from up front at the tractor. That'll come by these, and it'll branch off. You're starting to see why it's called a trunk line. It'll branch off to each of these hydraulic motors to run our piston pumps. It'll continue on down, branch off here again to run that hydraulic motor for our seed variable, our variable rate seed, whatever you want to call it. Then it'll branch off back here to run this hydraulic motor to run our variable rate drive product. Usually that's going to be potash. So that's how this trunk line is going to function and how it's going to work. And also why it's called a trunk line. Sit you down here. First, what we'll do is we will start back here at our breakaways. So as you can see, these 4 lines that have already been put in place, these are the left and right motors for our fans. I had these 2 laying around. This one I was able to find online, which pretty much matched these other ones for the most part. These came off of that old Kinsey tow-between cart that I turned into a side dress rig, and I had no use for the breakaways at the back. What I didn't realize when I pulled those off is exactly how much these units are. They're a couple $100 just for one. So right there was $400 that, boom, we didn't have to spend. So just thought I'd throw that in there. Never know. You never know what you're truly saving. Anyway, this top one is going to run the two variable rate seed hydraulic motors back on the planter toolbar. So it's just going to basically be the termination for the trunk line here on the air cart, and then that trunk line will pick back up and service those motors back there. The other motor it will service is our hydraulically controlled herbicide pump. That'll also be back there. So in total on the planter, when it's running full bore, you're looking at 13 gallons to the minute, 5 gallons a minute per hydraulic seed motor, whatever you want to call those. And then the herbicide pump is 3 gallons a minute. So that's 13. And also to calculate, turn you around here, those two up there will be running about 5 gallons to the minute as well. So in total, this trunk line is demanding about 23 gallons to the minute at most. When everything is just wide open, screaming across the field, when it hits that, it's gonna be rare. That 8850 is capable of putting out over twice that. I think it's 48. It might only be 44. Either way, the gallons per minute on that are plenty large for what we're doing, as is pretty much everything on that tractor is plenty large for what we're doing. Oh well, more power, right? You know, that's the secret to happiness, more power. Anyway, let's get started running these trunk lines. I'll take you along for the ride here. Back here is going to be pretty boring. The first ones that we're going to look for are the 5-footers. We're calling those trunk ones. So let's go grab them up. All right, so here is trunk one. You can see, well, maybe you can, I don't know how they label these. So it tells you what ends are being used, part number, and then it also gives you what you chose to call it. There you can see trunk one. At least maybe you can see it. I don't know. Sometimes these GoPros don't like to focus. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna thread that through, and we're gonna make this our return trunk one. So we'll put it on the yellow handle. All right, so we just got that finger tightened on there for now. Now we'll just go get our pressure. We'll put that on this red handle. So all of our reds are going to be the pressure lines. All the yellows will be the return. Keeps things nice and neat for hookup. So let's go get that other hose, get that on there, and I'll show you what we're doing with this trunk line. All right, so now as we work our way up, we will just use these JICTs, which has the number 8 JIC fitting on the one side. Again, we'll just kind of finger tighten it for now. I'm going to do the pressure side first. And that's how we'll tee into our pressure line. And then we'll do the same for our return here. And that'll service our first hydraulic motor down here. And then we'll just move our way up, do the same thing, and then same thing when we get up to the front motors. So it's really just a bunch of connecting. It's kind of boring, really.
just about as wild as we were young, restless and free, madly in love, just you and me. A full tank of dreams, left that dirt road town in our rearview dust. Down the interstate, it was only us and the radio, with 3,000 miles to go. And just like that, we headed off to the coast. California ain't that far, where the hard times ain't that hard. Everything's better in the Golden West. It's a state of mind, a way of life. It's an endless summer paradise. San Francisco to Sunset Boulevard. California ain't that far. Saw Memphis fade out with the setting sun, made Austin as old Willie sung on the road again, just like an old friend. Phoenix, Arizona finally gave way as we opened up those golden gates and crossed that state line. You looked into my eyes and said, darling, I guess we were right. California ain't that far, where the hard times ain't that hard. Everything's better in the Golden West. It's a state of mind, a way of life. It's an endless summer paradise. San Diego to Sunset Boulevard. And California ain't that far. But real life, it ain't always like the movies, laying on them Hollywood big screens. You got caught up in those nights, fell in love with those bright lights, and fell out of love with me. So I went back to where we started out, working 9 to 5 in this small town, when suddenly I see you on my TV. Makes me miss you and the days when I believe California ain't that far, where the hard times ain't that hard. Everything's better in the Golden West. It's a state of mind, a way of life. It's an endless summer paradise. The Hollywood Hills to Sunset Boulevard. California ain't that far. And California ain't that far.
A time lapse of the trunk line. So the trunk line has been run. We've got our spaghetti lines all over. I've started to zip tie some of them together to control the madness, but just so you see how this is going to work, we've got our pressure line here. This is our return line. I've run them through the frame to get back to that area where the trunk line actually starts to split. So you just take it off of that little holder that we worked on, plug it up here into the tractor, into the Power Beyond when we get that far. So the way this is going to be organized, everything on the left, pressure, right is return. R for return. Anyway, kind of work our way down here. Here you can see how everything's split off. I'm real happy with how that turned out. And then this madness, well, I haven't zip tied yet. There's a reason for that. These 4 lines are the pressure, and well, 2 of which are the pressure, 2 are the return for the fans on the toolbar. We've got to run 1 more line back to that toolbar. That's what I have here on this tire. This is what they call a case drain line, and that will have, well, this is actually the male plug. This goes on the planter itself, but as you can see, it's got one of these high flow faces to it. That's going to plug in here yet. This is to drain the seals of those orbit motors that run the fans. So that'll come in here yet. It'll come up, follow our trunk lines and our pressure lines all the way to the front. So I got to run it yet, and we'll be in good shape.